You know, I don't know what's up with me and technology, but it just does not want to be my friend.
Girl,
Seriously.
I'm literally sitting there like everybody's coming over. I'm like, y'all don't leave, don't leave, don't leave. She's coming, I promise.
I'm here.
She's
Hi.
here. She's here. Sorry about that, guys. Thank you guys so much for staying on board with us because this is like super important, like what she's going to be talking about. Hey, Tammy. Hey, beautiful.
Hi
Looks
there.
like Michelle's on here. Michelle says, hey, Tammy.
Hey.
Hey, how are you?
You look beautiful.
Thank you, Mama. Thank you. So do you. I appreciate it. Girl, everybody showing you love, saying hi to you.
Hi.
So, you're finally on my show. Thank you so much.
Finally.
I really appreciate it. For those of you who just came on board and just missed the introduction, I am Tasia Grant. I know it looks like Tasia, spelled T-A-S-I-A. That's correct, but it's pronounced Tasha. Hey, Maria! It's pronounced Tasia Grant. And this is my show, Still Standing. And these conversations are inspired by my forthcoming memoir, entitled The Same, Still Standing. And these conversations will hopefully inspire you all, encourage you all, connect with you all. I know that most of these stories are something that somebody out there has experienced, the likes of these stories. We're going to talk about, yes, the trauma or the trials and tribulations that people have experienced, but what we're going to focus on too is how they came out of it, the triumph, the good, the wonderful, how they are actually still standing. The person who did my hair, hey Nadia, we see you here. I see you on here. Nadia and Hairmatics, y'all. Yes, y'all need your hair done. She on here. But yes, this is a wonderful experience for me to hear the stories of other people. I myself am so inspired by these stories. And I'd love to hear again the success stories, but also what they did to overcome, you know, what steps they took to help us get there. So first and foremost, girl, how have y'all been doing? You and the family during all this, you know, the epidemic and all that. And of course, the election and all this craziness going on with this. How y'all been doing?
We've been surviving, you know, just trying to stay safe, wearing our masks, social distancing, but also staying busy with, you know, lots of family time. We've been able to incorporate a lot of quality family time during this isolation period. But, you know, I'm also trying to make sure that I'm practicing some me time because just constantly always giving, it's important for us to remember to also include that me time at the same time that you're including family time. So, you know, that's how we're surviving.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that later as far as that's one of the things I want to go back to. One of the ways I know something about you very particular, how what we're talking about affected you so much because you are used to giving. And we talk about the experience she went through. One of the ways that it was traumatizing for her is she was in a position where people had to help her and do for her. And we know that typically it's the other way around with Tammy because she is a mental therapist. And so we know that that's pretty much, hey, Reese, we know that, hey, Dawn, we know that that's typically, that's her role. So we want to make sure that, you know, hey, y'all, Blue. But anyway, so Tammy, we're going to talk about the good. We know you got a lot of stuff going on, some great things happening for you right now. But I want to backtrack. I want to talk about what you experienced about 3 years ago that actually kind of put a halt to a lot of those things. And it put you in a position that I know that you're not used to being in, a very uncomfortable position. So tell us what happened to you. And I want to know, and one of the things I want to point out is how it happened. Because I know that it's surprising the level of the magnitude of your illness, how it actually happened. You think, wow, you can't believe like something so traumatic was a result of it, but it actually ended up being. So tell us kind of start at the beginning. What happened? And then let's talk about where you were, and then we'll move forward from there.
Okay, I'll certainly do that. Before I jump right into that, is there a way for me to share this live onto my Instagram? Like, is there a button for that,
You
or no?
know, you know, I don't know. If somebody knows, put in the comments how she can share it on her live at the same time. When I've watched this, hey Kim, when I've watched these before, I know that people have kind of tag team, part of the time on theirs and part of the time on the other. So I don't think it's possible. I looked it up, I didn't see it. But if you guys can share how she can share it on her live. But I am recording, I will save this, and so you will be able to share this. Absolutely.
Okay.
And I will send it to you.
That's good for me. That's good for me. Okay, so first I want to say thank you so much to all of my friends that I see popping onto this live and supporting us with Tasia's show, Still Standing. It means so much.
Somebody just said that it's going to show up on your live, like the little circle will show that you're live. So
okay, that's good to hear.
Kim, if you don't mind going to Tammy's page to see if it shows up on her live, if you can see it on her live, that would be great. That'd be helpful. Thank you, ma'am, and thank you so much. But go ahead, Tammy.
Okay, that's good information. That's good information. But I just want to say thank you so much to everybody that's taken a moment to pop onto this show with us. I don't take it for granted, the support that our friends, you know, lend to us. And it means a lot. So I just wanted to say thank you, because I have not been able to say hello to each and every person that I recognize that's coming on there, but I see you and I really appreciate it. So Tasia, thank you so much for having me on this show. I was so excited to hear that you had started doing a show weekly, and I'm so proud of you. You're doing a fabulous job, and I wouldn't have expected anything less. But now let's go back. It's actually been about almost 3.5 years ago.
Yeah. But so,
and
what time of year was it? And what was going on? Where?
It was July 2017.
Okay.
And I don't know why I feel emotional. I guess because this is the first time I've actually
and it's okay because this show gets like that. And Tammy, you know how I roll. We want real raw. I don't care if you end up bawling. I want the real. I want to know, like, I want the deep. I want the stuff. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay. So thank you for checking, Kim. But that's okay. She's recording it, so I can share it on my page afterwards. But so I've always been the type of person to just go, go, go. And as Tasia said, give, give, give. In 2017, I was in pretty much my last year of graduate school, studying to get my master's in social work. And so I had a heavy load, and I was also running a women's empowerment group called Girl in the Glass. I'm an actress, so I was constantly doing auditions and you know, filming, and I'm a mother of two.
I'm sorry, Will Packer is on here. Hello, Will. Thank you so much for joining. It's been a long time. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So along with being in graduate school to get my master's in social work to become a mental health therapist, as I was saying, I'm also an actress, so I was auditioning and filming, and I'm a mother of two, and of course a wife of, you know, at the time it was 17 years. But I had lots of friends and family that always leaned on me for advice, support, just, you know, everything. And I was constantly being everything for everybody. So, the summer of 2017, we went to Illinois to visit my in-laws. And I had also started becoming more and more in tune with what I needed to do for my body to be healthy. So I was working out more consistently. I had been for like 3 years at the time, and I was trying to eat healthier. So when we went to Illinois for this trip, I was a little bored. Plus, I was thinking, you know what? I haven't exercised today. I'm just gonna go out and go for a jog. Okay. So I went for a jog in the neighborhood, and decided to, you know, I turn around and start heading back towards the house. Yeah. And just going for a jog, I tripped over a crack in the sidewalk that I did not see. And I remember flying through the air and falling. My right leg never hit the concrete. It just simply slammed on top of my left leg because I fell on my side. And I remember my phone sliding away from me. And I just remember thinking, that hurts and I can't move. Yeah. And I couldn't get up to walk. And I was all by myself in this strange neighborhood. So none of the neighbors know me. You know, I'm just some strange woman running through the neighborhood. Right. And so I was able to slide to my phone and call my husband and said, I fell and I can't get up. And he was like, what? And so he uses a wheelchair, so he couldn't come and pick me up, because I needed somebody to help hold me up. So he sent his father-in-law and his sister. They drove and found me. And here's the other thing. When I was lying on the ground, there was somebody 2 houses away mowing the lawn.
It's okay.
But they didn't even come over to help me.
What? It's okay.
I don't know if they didn't see me. I don't know if they didn't see me, or if they just, thought I was just chilling. I literally fell when I flew through the air. I fell in the middle of somebody's driveway. So it would be odd to think somebody's just sitting down in the middle of somebody's driveway, but I wasn't sitting. I was lying. So I think that was the first.
Did them see you? Did he look at?
I don't know if they saw me, so I can't say they didn't. But it was 2 houses away across the street.
Right.
And anyway, I just remember feeling so helpless because I couldn't get up to walk, and I felt also embarrassed. I was like, here I am, a grown woman, and I'm falling. And what if these people saw me? Why aren't they coming to check on me? So anyways, my in-laws came and picked me up, and they had to help me because I could only use one leg. And so they got me in the car. They helped me in the house. And I'm still just like thinking, okay, my leg's starting to swell. It hurts really bad, but I think maybe I just twisted it. I don't think I broke anything. So I know you only have an hour show, so I'm going to kind of skip ahead a little bit.
It's okay.
So anyway, so I laid on the sofa from I don't know what time it was. It was morning time when I went jogging. But I laid on the sofa literally for about 8 to 12 hours with my legs swelling, icing it, alternating between ibuprofen and Tylenol. And my hands were starting to shake because I was going into shock. And my girls who were little, well, they're teenagers now, but they were at the time, they were like 12 or like 12 and 10 or something like that. So they were little, and they're like at my head, like leaning over, like, Mom, are you okay? And kissing me and petting my head and stuff. And I was trying to be strong for them. I didn't want to cry, but I wanted to cry. I needed to cry because it hurt so bad. I was trying to be strong for them.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you were still out at your in-laws at that time, right?
Yes.
Yes. You weren't even in your home. You weren't even.
No.
And I know it's your family, but you weren't in your home. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was on a Sunday. And so because I've always been this strong person, not wanting to bother anybody, not wanting to, inconvenience anybody, and also trying to be mindful of not just wasteful with money, because, I'm thinking to go to the emergency room is going to cost a lot of money. I don't know if, I'm guessing insurance would have covered it. I don't know. But I also knew it was a Sunday, and I'm thinking I could just wait and go to a orthopedist tomorrow. Just skip the middleman. Just go right to an orthopedist. And so I think probably after I laid on the sofa for the first, 10 hours, trying to stay calm, I had to use the bathroom. And I wanted to wash up because I had been jogging, So my mother-in-law found some old crutches. And they were so old, they were yellowed. And they were great for a kid, so I'm not that tall, so they kind of worked. And so my husband, he's such a sweetheart. He helped me to the bathroom so that I could go because I had to pee so bad. And so I'm standing there on one leg, and I'm thinking, the pain pills are starting to kind of kick in. The ice had literally frozen my knee, even though it was huge. So I was like, maybe I'll be okay. So I put my foot down, standing by the sink.
Right.
I put my foot down, my toe, and I heard a crack. And I was just like, that didn't sound good. That was the moment that I literally fractured my tibia because I put weight on it. And Tasha, I swear I've relived this so many times because I asked myself, if I hadn't tried to be so strong, if I hadn't tried to not be a bother to other people, if I hadn't tried to, act like I was okay and just gone to the emergency room, earlier that day even, then the doctors would have done x-rays. They would have given me crutches that fit. They would have put a better brace on, you know, a brace on my knee, and given me some pain pills that might have been stronger that could have worked, and told me, don't put any weight on your leg. I didn't put any weight on my leg initially because it hurt, but when it started to kind of be numb, I thought, I'll be okay. Maybe I'll survive this. Maybe I won't even have to go to the doctor tomorrow. But I heard that crack, and I was just like, that wasn't good. So I couldn't sleep that night because I was in so much pain, and I had to lay really still. Anyways, the next day, my father-in-law and
did you tell anybody that you heard that, what you felt?
Yeah, my husband was in the bathroom with me,
okay.
and so he heard it too, and he was just like, you know. But so the next day, he and my father-in-law took me to the doctor's office. Sat for 4 hours in the lobby because they had to verify that they could take my insurance because I was a Georgia native. They got approval, and I mean, after they literally went on the phone for 4 hours with the insurance company, and they were trying. Got approval, got x-rayed. The guy said, well, there's a tiny fracture there. You may not have to have surgery, but if you do, you'll probably have to have like 1 or 2 pins in there.
Okay.
And so screws, 1 or 2 screws. And so I was like, okay. They said, but see your doctor when you get back home. In the meantime, they sent me to occupational therapists to help me learn how to use crutches. They fitted me with better crutches. They put a better brace on me, and sent me back to my in-laws.
Okay.
Well, on this trip in particular, normally we would, my husband would drive up because he prefers to drive. This trip in particular, I had convinced him to let us all fly. We would rent a car, and I would drive the car because it didn't have hand controls.
Wow.
So how am I going to not only get myself, and I wasn't going to stay the whole trip. He and my kids were going to stay longer.
Okay.
Because I had to come back and get back to school. So how was I going to get this rental car and, you know, back to the airport in St. Louis, which was an hour and a half away, and, you know, get myself to the airport. Right. And so I was scheduled to fly out the next day. So anyway, we managed. My sister-in-law drove me to the airport. My father-in-law drove the rental car to the airport. Then they were going to ride back together. But I got to the airport about 2 or 3 hours before my flight because we didn't know what the traffic was going to be like. I was by myself. I had like luggage and bags. I was in a wheelchair there, luggage and bags in my lap, and I'm just parked by the gate, and there's nobody else there. So I'm like, here I am.
It's okay.
All alone, and there was an older lady who was also in a wheelchair parked right next to me, and but we weren't talking to each other because I was really falling into a depression, and I was in so much pain. And I remember this lady comes up to me and she says, can I get you anything from the concession store, you know, which was right near there? And she said, my mother was in a wheelchair forever, and whenever we flew, it always helped so much if somebody else was looking out for her, but I see you by yourself. And she also offered something to the older lady. So I was feeling nauseated, and I said, you know, can you get me some Dramamine and some a Sprite or ginger ale? And she said yes. And when she came back, I tried to give her some money. She was like, no. And I was like, no, let me pay you for it. I was just so thankful that somebody stopped by just to offer help.
Well, you know, especially, I'm sorry, Tammy, after you had experienced that person ignore you outside when you were injured and you didn't have somebody help then, I know you were like, what a blessing, because somebody actually looked out for you and came through for you. You needed that. You needed that moment.
Right. So when I looked at the stuff she gave me, I had to read the Dramamine because I have so many food allergies. It turns out I couldn't even take it because it had milk in it. And I was like, I can't take this because I'm going to get sick from the milk. But I felt nauseated already. And then I looked at it, and it was freaking $12. The Sprite was like $4. And I was like, oh, my God, bless her heart. She just spent all this money on a stranger. And then I was like, and I can't even use half of it. I felt so bad, but I was so grateful for her. And so anyways, I get on the flight. trying to figure out how am I going to do this, you know, because they don't like necessarily help you on. I think they wheeled me all the way to the door, and then I had to figure out how to, you know, get in there. And they put me in. I think they put me in the very front seats, and somebody else brought my bags on in and put them up high and stuff. But so I was sitting near the window. And I think halfway through the flight, like there was a person that was sitting next to me. They were really nice and just talkative, and I was trying to be nice. But halfway through the flight, I ended up throwing up. And
What?
I don't do that easy or often. I got sick, and I was so embarrassed, and I couldn't even get up to go and, like, you know, to the bathroom or anything. I did have the bag because I kind of felt queasy. And so I had the bag, and I threw up in the bag, but I'm still embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, you know. And so anyway, so that happened. I get home and I have like this amazing group of girlfriends, including yourself, that I had already sent them a text. And I said, guys, this happened to me and I need your help. And that was so humbling for me because I never just say I need help.
You don't.
And
You don't.
and they all rallied around me. And then one person, I mean, you know, I live in Alpharetta, and one person drove from, I think she was in Woodstock at the time. But she said, I'll come get you from the airport. So she drove all the way down to the airport to get me. And when we got home to my house, I had just enough time to open her car door in my driveway and throw up again. And I was just like, I'm so glad I didn't do it in her car. But I was so embarrassed again. I was like, I've never, ever felt so helpless. And so then after that, the other girlfriends, because we all had this group text, they rallied around. They brought food. I had girlfriends taking turns sleeping overnight with me because I was home by myself for at least another week. They were taking me to doctor's appointments, to
I remember.
Yes, they were bringing
you because one of the things I know that we were concerned about is not just your physical state. I know we all were concerned about your emotional state and your mental state. Like legit. We were really worried about how you're gonna get around because you were there alone. But I was like, I didn't want you to get down. Didn't want you to get depressed. Didn't want you to get, because we all know, y'all don't know, Tammy, like one of the things we have in common is have a hard time asking for help. And it's not necessarily a trait that we love about ourselves, but it's really difficult. And because we knew that you have such a hard time asking for help, that's why it's like we have to offer and have to be there for her, have to show up. I know that we would just show up, be like, Tammy, you need something, we coming over, because we know you sit there just like you did. That you would sit there. Tammy would sit there, y'all, and just be like, I'm okay. I'll be okay. I don't want to burden anybody. I don't want to ask them to come here. Her heart is so huge. See, she's so used to, again, being there for others, that I think that it's like for her, it was almost uncomfortable. So not only was she dealing with the physical, I mean, truly, I know that was heavy on you. I know it was.
It was the mental.
But I'm so proud of you. I want to say, I'm proud of you, Tammy, because it takes a lot of courage for that, to ask even when it's uncomfortable. I'm so glad you did. You needed help. I'm so glad that you were able to just do that, to be vulnerable. I know it's hard, sweetie. I know. But I'm proud of you because you needed it. You needed help. You need help. Let's talk about that. I want to talk about how you got through, how you made it through. What gave you the strength and the power and the will to get through? Not just the physical recovery, but the emotional, mental. And I want to say this. I know you're a therapist. I know that. But I can imagine that you can't always apply what you give to others and what you tell others. I'm sure that sometimes it's hard to take that advice for yourself. I mean, is that true?
It is.
Where some,
It is.
yeah. So let's talk about how you got through, and I know what you probably tried to do with yourself as a therapist, but really, what else? What else helped you to make it through?
Well, first of all, there was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of prayer. There was a lot of trying to calm myself down so I could think things through, because my mind constantly wanted to keep asking, why me? Why now? And trying to figure out, where this was going to end. And I kept trying to keep this positive attitude of, it's going to be okay. I'm not going to think the worst. It's going to be okay. And little did I know, 3.5 years later, I would still have issues. I had no clue. I was like, this will be all right. I did research looking for the best doctor to get me in as soon as possible. And, that ended up being screwed up. So I ended up having a second surgery, but that's a whole nother part we'll talk about in a minute. But the other thing that got me through besides prayer was seeing how everybody just jumped right into action and came through for me. Because part of the reason I think it had been so hard for me to ask for help was because I didn't know if I didn't know if I could trust that people would actually show up and be there, because I didn't know if they would just take it lightly, or if their lives were just so busy they wouldn't be able to. I was afraid I would be disappointed. And I was also afraid of being a burden. But when people jumped in and started taking action, and then some people that I hadn't even been conversing with on a regular, whenever I posted something about it and they saw it, they reached out to me privately and said, what can I do for you? I want to do something. Can I send you something? Can I come over? Can I take you somewhere? What do you need? And that was just so heartwarming for me. And it kind of told me that, you know what? All these years, you've always thought that you didn't have anybody there for you. But I never really thought about it, because I'm strong, right? I never thought I was going to have to need this help. But I think part of me always worried if I would have that strength behind me. And people showed up. And I tell you, some people, I'm just like, when's the last time we talked? It's been like 5 or 6 years, and here you are. Like, wow. And I think God was trying to tell me, and he was trying to remind me that you are not alone. I'm here for you, but you also have everybody else here for you. And a lot of these people that were coming to me to help were telling me, you've been there for me, even if it's just been an ear or whatever. So I'm glad I'm able to help you. And so anyway, so I got through that first week before my husband and my kids came home. And school was a challenge, because I ended up having to miss about 2 weeks, about 2 or 3 weeks of class, and it was the quarter was almost over. So I had to go through all the red tape trying to prove to my teachers that, I have a legitimate reason for missing all of this. I was an A student. I was concerned that all of that was going to be wasted. I'd have to retake classes and fail and mess up my GPA. But God pulled through on that too, even though I was in tears several times, because I was thinking, at least 2 of these teachers don't understand. I'm like, you guys are supposed to be social workers. Who's my advocate? Like, you're not responding, and you're not being as supportive as I know you could. And so anyway, got through that. I did take the next quarter off, because I was like, I got to heal. I got to have this surgery, and I have to heal. So it ended up pushing graduation back a little bit later. But anyway, so I had this surgery. When I interviewed the doctor, I researched the doctor. I thought I liked the doctor. I was like, okay, I feel like I'm in good hands. There was one other doctor somebody had recommended, but he had a 6-month waiting period. I was like, no, this needs to be fixed now. I cannot wait for 6 months to have surgery. And so I did surgery with this doctor.
Hey, Tammy, I don't mean to interrupt you. There's some type of technical difficulties. Are you experiencing that? Do you see that?
No.
Yeah, we're seeing you. It's kind of grainy. Can you guys see her okay? That's all that matters, is if you all can see her okay. On my end, it's a little bit choppy. I can still hear you fine. So go ahead and tell your story. But once it became a little pixelated, and hopefully it will fix itself. So it looks like it's fixing itself soon.
Okay. So I had the surgery. When I woke up from surgery, the doctor says, okay, so initially he had told me we were going to use 3 screws and a plate. When I woke up, he says, we put 6 screws and a plate in. And I was immediately like, what? Like, even in Illinois, they didn't say it was that bad. And so, I was just, I mean, but what can I do about it? The surgery's done now. But he said, you should be good as new. So for the next 3 to 6 months, I went to physical therapy, followed up doctor's visits. I kept telling my therapist and the doctor, I'm having a lot of pain in my knee. It's like a lightning in my knee when I'm trying to bend it, or if I'm just laying there, it's throbbing. Like, is that normal? Oh, well, so what was happening was the doctor would tell me, tell your physical therapist, you need to do this, you need to do that. The therapist was like, well, you need to talk to your doctor. So nobody was taking responsibility over, like, hearing me, listening to me. 9 months later, at this point, insurance stopped paying for physical therapy. So now I'm paying like about $800 a month out of my own pocket to continue physical therapy because insurance was like, you cut off. And so,
which is a shame because that was one of the things that scared you in the first place. That day when you waited all day, remember you said that you were worried about the emergency bill. And I mean, the truth is, sorry to interrupt you, but that's like a lot of people suffer from that, especially in our community where, I mean, I went to where we don't get help. We don't get to take care of ourselves because we're so scared of the bills, the repercussions of going. Yeah. And shame that actually hindered you in the beginning.
And I was also thinking, I'm going to help the insurance company out. I'm not going to go to the emergency room, so they have to pay for that. So in my head, I'm still, let me help them too. Right. But so after 9 months, let's see, it happened in July. I had to go back. Well, at this point it was 6 months. In January, for my graduation from the doctor, he said, so how are you doing? I said, well, I still have a little pain here and I'm still limping. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, have your physical therapist have you do more stairs in the elliptical. And I'm thinking, I can freaking barely walk from here to the car without limping, but okay. And so he said, all right, we're releasing you. And I was like, okay, and so I left. So then I was still paying for physical therapy. After like March came around, 2018. And I'm still desperate because I can still barely walk like 6 feet without extreme pain and limping really bad. But I was getting around and I started refusing to use my cane. I was definitely no longer on my crutches because I'm thinking, I need to just toughen up. I'm being wimpy. If the doctor says I'm fine, the physical therapist is like this, it must be me. It must be mental. I need to just toughen up. But March came around and I was like, okay, my handicap sticker, my handicap pass has expired like for 3 months. I need another one. I'm ashamed to go ask for another one, but I gotta have it because I cannot park way out at the grocery store and be able to make it in. So I stopped by the doctor's office at 5 o'clock one day, randomly, no appointment. And the 2 ladies in the office greeted me. There was a 3rd lady in the office, a Black lady, and I had never seen her before. But as I was asking, timidly, like, I just need to see if I can pick up a parking pass, because my whole thing was, I thought they would think I was lying. I thought they would think that, oh, she's just trying to get a parking pass. I was just, that was in my head. And so, anyway, so they were like, oh, okay, so you're still having some problems. So then the Black lady that I'd never seen before, she turned around and she was just like, well, what's happening? What's going on? Why didn't you come back to the doctor? I said, well, I did, but he told me to talk to my therapist. And she was like, but why didn't he should have done some more x-rays. He should have done this. I was like, well, he said I was fine. I said, but here's the thing. By the time January came, we didn't have the same insurance that we had the year before. So they didn't take our insurance anymore. In fact, they said they weren't going to charge me for that visit. I got a bill anyway. I went ahead and paid it. And I said, so they didn't take my insurance. I guess he was done with me. And she said, you know what? She says, no. She says, that's not how we should be operating. She says, And I literally was just like, okay, who is this woman? Like, I have no idea who she is. She was an angel, I swear. She said to me, she said, are you a praying woman? Are you, are you a Christian? I was like, yes.
Come
She
on,
started
somebody.
praying for me.
Come on,
She
somebody.
she started praying for me right then, and I literally started crying in the office. And I don't cry easy. That's why I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. That's why it's hard for me on the show here. But I started crying, and when she was praying, and she was asking God to bless me, and she was like, you know what, we're going to take care of you. And when she stopped, she said, let me tell you something. I'm going to set you up with a different doctor. She said, one that's going to listen to you, one that specializes in knees. She said, the doctor that you use, he doesn't even specialize in knees. He specializes in shoulders, and he should have told you that when you told him. Yes. She said, he should have told you when you told him. She said, and I said, but y'all don't take my insurance. She said, girl, don't even worry about it. She said, do you know we write off $30 million a year? Do you know we do that? She said, all you have to do is fill out this paperwork, fill out this family support paperwork, and turn it into me. And she said, I'm going to pay attention to this personally. Here is my personal cell phone number on the back of her business card. She said, I am going to be checking on you and following up on your case because I am upset that this is how you were treated. And when she found out I was a therapist or, studying to be a therapist, she was like, and you in the helping professional? You need to be getting help yourself. And she said, no, she said, I got you. Don't worry about a thing. She said, you are going to, if you have to have another surgery, she says, whatever you need, she says, I got you. And I was just like, wow, because in my head, I thought I was just being a complainer and whining and just, but you know what, Tasha, I was like, oh my God. So I left crying and I went home. And when I walked in the door, tears were rolling down my face. I was almost doing the ugly cry. And my husband said, what's wrong? What's wrong? I said, I couldn't even talk. He said, is your mom okay? What's wrong? Did somebody die? Somebody? And I was like, honey, I said, these are tears of joy. I said, you have no idea what I just experienced. I said, nobody has ever just stood up for me the way she stood up for me. And she did it in front of the other people in the office. She turned out to be senior auditor over their finances. That's how come she had so much control. That's how come she knew what they could have done. She said, when you told him that your insurance was not covering this anymore and you should not have been released, they could have done that application for you right then for you to potentially get help. She said, but that's okay because it was meant for you to walk in today because I am hardly ever here. She was there randomly that day doing an audit. She's not normally there. And so, I went through, saw the other doctor. He was freaking amazing. I wish I had seen him first. He was amazing. I had a second surgery that following October. I graduated with my degree in August. Had the surgery, had the surgery. And still got like a 3.8. And had the second surgery on my knee October 25th. Ended up having to have surgery 4 weeks later on my fibroids, November 19th. I mean, that whole year was crazy. I was dealing with a lot of stuff, a lot of illnesses that I just wasn't sharing publicly with people. And my mental state, like I was fighting with my husband. I was stressed because I wasn't able to be with my kids anymore. I couldn't pick them up. Like when this happened, I could still pick them up. It's too bad for me to pick up now.
Y'all, she's a photographer, and y'all know you gotta stand. You gotta for long hours. You gotta walk. As a photographer, I even helped her, just sometimes just carrying equipment because she couldn't carry it. Like that one of the things she loved to do, just the things she had to do, things she loved to do. She couldn't do that. But I want to say something because I want to make sure we don't get cut off. Before we say, I want to get to this because this thing, stupid IG live, sometimes will cut you off. That makes me so mad. But I want to say this. Tammy, you talked about one of the reasons why you had, sometimes you were apprehensive about asking for help because you weren't sure if someone would say yes. You didn't want to get, people. Look how God sent somebody you didn't even know. So I
Exactly.
mean, like, that's a powerful message, because like for us, a lot of times we only look to what's around us. We visibly can see our immediate surroundings, thinking that's where the help's gonna come from. But don't y'all know God is bigger than that? Like, works
Yes.
way bigger than that.
Yes.
And that
Yes.
miracles, like, are real. They're really the truth. And that when we think of our help or our support is only just right here in front of us, God's way bigger than that. And that goes to show
Yes.
y'all, we couldn't have done what that lady did. That she
No.
needed her. She didn't know that lady from Adam. God literally put her in front of somebody who actually could do something, could make a difference. And because of Tammy's energy and her spirit, and I want to say this too, we need to take heed to that. I am a person who's a believer of energy and of spirit. And I will say that I feel like people are more apt to help you or want to be there for you when they feel good energy, when they feel like you're like, you know what? I don't know why. I don't know this person, but I feel like I want to help them. And so guess what? All of her pouring and all of her giving, all this time, hey, Elise, all this time, her giving to other people and pouring into other people and her good energy, look how God brought it right back around to her. Brought it right back around to her. And guess what? Not from the people who she poured into. Come on, somebody. Not just who she poured into. Actually, he was bigger than that. He was like, I see what she's doing, but I'm going to let other people have no idea what they're doing. Actually pour back into her. Give back into her. I mean, she didn't even like ask for that. She didn't even have to ask for help. He didn't even put her in an uncomfortable position where she had to be vulnerable. That lady out of nowhere said, inquire more.
She stayed in touch with me. Yeah, she stayed in touch with me for over a year afterwards. And when I would like check in with her,
sometimes we'll be put in positions where, well, you know what, this is not comfortable for me, but you know I need this. So I want to say this, everybody, because I want to say this before we get cut off. God forbid. Listen to yourself sometimes. Give yourself some grace. When you feel like, no, I can't ask, or humble yourself, man. Make yourself vulnerable, because you have no idea what's in store for you. You have no idea how he's going to really move, you know. And I don't mean to be preachy on this at all like this, but I'm sorry. We gotta give glory what glory is doing. We gotta look at this girl. And I want to say this before we get cut off. I want you all to hear what she's doing right now, because that's the real testimony. That's the real testimony that you all have heard this trials and tribulations, these crazy stories that she's been through. But I want y'all to hear right now, y'all to see how he really works. Because my girl, she's doing it in spite of, and guess what? She's still in physical therapy. She's still trying to get her footing back. Can she run? No. But you know what? She and I had this joke about this. Neither one of us, we've had injuries. We can't run no more. We've been running for 40-something years. Guess what? If that's all we can't do, is run, then guess what? We're okay, because we can walk. We're able to walk. We're able to talk. We're able to love. We're able to hug. We're able to do this. And so that's the blessing. So I want to talk about, and I'm not trying to skim over because this is so powerful, but the part of your testimony is I want people to hear, what now? Where are you now? Like, how did God turn things around? How have you been able to like recover and, you know, and show God the glory by your life?
So besides the lady staying in touch with me for over a year, because she would tell me to check in with her occasionally, and she'd say, you know what, I literally just called the office to check on you, to make sure they were doing what they were supposed to do. But aside from her taking care of that end for me, and then, you know, I forgot about the photography. You're right. I was on crutches still photographing people because they were like saying, I need pictures. And I didn't want to let them down. Plus, I loved it. It was going to be good for my spirit. I even went back to the gym with my personal trainers on crutches, and they worked with me to help me. That did a lot for my spirit. So what I had to do to pull myself out of the dark place that I had found myself sinking in and feeling sorry for myself was to try to get back to a sense of normalcy as quickly as possible without overdoing it. And so also with the new doctor, I also had a new physical therapist, and she was absolutely amazing. Her name is Kelly, and she literally worked with me, and she has gotten me to a point. And I was in some low points where I was like, Kelly, I'm never going to be able to like walk without pain again. I'm never going to be able to run again. She was like, if that's what you want to do, then that's what we're going to work towards. And so what I ended up doing, and I also didn't even realize until about 6 months ago that what I had been experiencing the entire 3 years was considered chronic pain. There was not one day that went by that I did not have excruciating pain in my knee. What I had done was started learning to live with it. And then eventually the limping started to become less and less. But with Kelly's help, she helped me figure out that I could, I could start doing some jogging. This was back in this past January. But then probably in June, I realized I'm still having this chronic pain. Like, when is that going to go away? Went for a visit to the second doctor. They did more x-rays, and they told me something that I thought, okay, this is a setback. They said your knee has healed misaligned, number one. Your cartilage is like almost not there. And so you probably should not be trying to do any high impact sports, running, or anything. And at that point, I had just said to myself, let me pray to God. If I could at least get to a point where I can walk and I'm not limping and like pain doesn't shoot through my brain with every step, I will find a way to be at peace with it. If I don't ever run again, that's fine. So what I did is with Kelly's help, I started biking. And I remember the first time I got on the bicycle and I was like, okay, I can't sit down and go up this hill because I lost a lot of muscle. I gained a lot of weight. But I was like, you can do this, Tammy. Just see if you can stand up and pedal. Girl, when I stood up on that bike and I pumped, I was like, oh, I did it. I did it. Oh, my God. It was like, I'm off now. So I started biking every single day, and I was able to go longer and further. I was able to stand up longer, and the muscles started building. And that is when I saw the first real breakthrough from I can walk and not limp. I can walk and not think about pain with every step. So what? I can't run. I can ride a bicycle and I can walk and there's no pain. So that's where I am today. And I'm also doing really well with my mental health therapy clients. I'm doing very well with photography. I'm also, oh my gosh.
Class in I Empower Me.
Yes, I'm getting more and more auditions from my agency that sometimes I'm like, whoa, where is all this stuff coming from? It like slowed down when my knee was hurt, and I thought, okay, I guess the industry just forgot me. It's not what I'm supposed to be doing. But I feel like something's about to happen because I cannot believe the rush of stuff that comes in daily. And I was just like, okay, I guess I asked for this, but I'm just gonna enjoy the moment because I am now not having to think about the pain in my knee. And so now it's all about finding giving myself grace, finding peace, finding grounding. I've been grounding all the time, finding balance, and trying to spend more quality time with my kids and my family. So, and of course, the pandemic happened. This election, all the racial injustice has done a number on us. And I'm trying to...
Wait a minute. One more thing, y'all.
Yeah.
Tammy, this beautiful being, believe it or not, turned 50 this year in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah. So that is my girl. We haven't even been able to celebrate her in the way that we know that we would have, and we still are going to do when this is all over on her 50th. But let me tell you, this is how gracious she is, and this is the person that she is. She's so gracious. We're so gracious. We're so grateful to be alive and living and being able to ride her bike and to be able to do these things. Yeah, my girlfriend says 50. No, yes, Inga. She turned 50 just like you. Just turned 50 a little while ago. Both of y'all wonderful, beautiful people. Yes. She literally took it in stride. She took it in stride. She took it with gratitude. And that is why I know that she's going to be blessed with the opportunity to do it in the way that I know that she would have. And I'm just grateful that she's alive and here with us, that we were here to celebrate that. And she's able to do these things. I want to say I'm so proud of you, Tammy. I know we're going to have to wrap up soon. I want to say, I know you've been telling your story, but sweetie, everybody has been commenting on how inspiring your story is and how amazing and how they've been blessed by your story and how you have overcome and how you have triumphed through it. You are an amazing person. You deserve all the blessings that are coming to you, the overflow. You deserve it. You deserve it. It's I look up to you. You are such a great example, you know, and a great role model. And we're still here. You still got people. We're still here for you. You still, even though you're stronger, even though you're healed, you can still ask for help. We're still here if you need us. You know how we do. If we need to get on our Zoom to do a little talk, to talk each other off of a ledge sometimes, we can do that. Still here. And you don't always have to be the strong ones. You know that saying, guys, check on your strong friends? Sometimes that means check on Tammy. Check on your strong friends, okay? Sometimes they need to be checked on as well. So thank you so much, everybody. You all have been wonderful, so engaging, so grateful. Next week, please, those of you who are new, please tune in next week. We're going to have Katie Bowe. Katie Bowe is going to, radio personality,
Nice.
Katie Bowe is going to
Nice.
be here talking about his organization, The Man Cave, because we're going to talk about mental health and emotional health for men. How men, they don't have the resources and they oftentimes don't have the support. And if you all know a lot of guys who need to hear this, who need this word, please tell them to tune in. Tammy, before we go, to lighten things up a little bit, I want to ask you, I have a little game, a little question. So, okay. If you were deemed a superhero, just for one day, a superhero, what would your superpower be? And then how would you use that superpower to impact the world?
Wow. Well, too bad I couldn't have gotten this question prior to, so I could think about it. But you know,
no,
right off
I don't want you to. I don't want you. That's the point. I want you to really.
My superpower would be the ability to give everyone a sense of peace, because especially in my profession, what I find is that a lot of people operate from a place of fear. A lot of people are increasingly anxious, falling into depression, but they don't even realize that that's what's happening to them. And a lot of the reasons people have been bickering back and forth about things that, you know, that just don't seem like they make sense is because they don't have that sense of peace in their spirit, in their hearts. And so my superpower would to be able to like look at somebody and feel the energy and realize, they need some peace in their lives. So I would zap them, peace, 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 peace. I would just give everybody the ability to have a great level of peace so that they can like literally live in their lives and not just exist. Because a lot of times our imbalances come from having to worry about finances, having to worry about relationships, having to worry about health and wellness, having to worry about just like the basics. So if I could give them a sense of peace so that they no longer had to worry about any of those things, and that they would understand that God will make a way, they will understand that they also have the power to make their own way, then that's what I would give to people, because I think that overall the world would be a lot happier place to live in, and we would live more peacefully with our neighbors and our friends, and just peace.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love you. Thank you so much, Tammy. You guys, thank you everyone for coming on, joining us, and all the wonderful energy that you've given back. And I'll see you next week, next Wednesday, same place, same time. And we'll be joined by Katie Bowe. Ciao.
Thanks, everybody. I saw all of you.
Thank you.